उनीहरुको सामूहिक एउटा क्षमता बढाउन जुन खालको प्रयासले अरु गाउँठाउँहरुमा गर्यो त्यो विधि मर्चवारमा पनि लगेर चाहिँ नि प्रयोग गर्दाखेरि सायद त्यसले सकारात्मक असर ल्याउला भन्ने एउटा सोचाइ राखेर हामीले चाहिँ त्यो अनुसार चाहिँ नि सुझाव दिएका हौं।
या के देख्यो भने विकास भनेर हामीहरु
Development is often taken to be only the creation of physical infrastructure, but the experience with the RSDC has shown that an awareness towards organization is equally important. Where there is no infrastructure, awareness works towards getting that infrastructure in place. Take the case of Madan Pokhara or any other place that has developed well. In each instant, the awareness at the local level was instrumental in the changes achieved. Once people have achieved a certain threshold of awareness, they will do what they can to bring the services to their villages, even if it means fighting with government agencies to do it. On the other hand, there are numerous examples of places where the infrastructure is in place, but the target group does not have the know-how to take advantage of it. Marchwar was one such place when we went there. Instead of standing up to the market with the help of the resources available to the villagers, the opposite was happening. That was why it was essential that some unity be forged in the form of an income-generating committee, as we had learned from our experiences in the past.
The Rural Self-Reliance Development Center took its program to Marchwar with financial assistance from the United Nations Capital Development Fund. The self-reliance program had begun with a lot of promise in Palpa in 1985. With its coming to Marchwar, the physical and administrative dimension of the lift irrigation project saw great change.
The irrigation project was concerned solely with irrigation. It is different with Swabalamban since they provide education to both children and adults. They teach us how to maintain toilets and to keep the environment clean. Swabalamban is also helping us find ways to increase our income.
Like the Buddha's eightfold path, self-reliance has a 19-point code of conduct. Prominent among these are openness to motivation, cooperative spirit, income generation, savings, cleanliness, equality, respect for law, rejection of social vice and retrogressive rituals such as child marriage. The results from an adherence to this code has been immediate and visible. But most important has been the change apparent in the way people think.
The Swabalamban programs were designed by the villagers themselves. This helped villagers understand for the first time that they too are important. It was a totally new experience to be consulted about their expectations and to be allowed a voice. This process was so different from what they had been used to when everything was dictated either by Kathmandu or the district headquarters. A social transformation is much in evidence. There is greater unity among villagers and petty quarrels are solved within the village itself. They are more conscious of their cleanliness. Savings are being made. At this rate of growing awareness, the social change here is going to be a model to the others.
Assessing the positive physical changes brought about by Swabalamban, a local elite and chairperson of Betkuya Village Development Committee, Ashok Kumar Shukla says,
this village consisted only of thatched huts. Now people are building brick structures. That itself shows that the economic situation is getting better.
The basis for considering that these activities have become sustainable is justified by the fact that a personal financial activity like saving has assumed a social and institutional dimension.
The most important factor is that the rules have been laid down. Savings were done even in the past with farmers using their equivalent of piggy banks, that is, in the earthen pots which they broke open to take out the money. But with our help, the 5 or 10 rupees saved is used for community needs. Someone saves 10 rupees and is lent 400 rupees when he needs it. All this is based on trust and the regulations. The rules also say that priority for borrowing is based on need. This means the poorest get the money first. We encourage them to utilize the common resources of the village. There is a saying that big money eats up small money. But now there is widespread belief among those involved in RSDC programs that small money will pull big money. That is because the farmers see their savings growing, and also because the Village Development Committee and the District Development Committee are beginning to have faith in them. The general view in these local bodies is that since the villagers are making such good use of the money, they should be given some more. There have been cases where the villages have received up to 200,000 rupees to renovate schools, make culverts, repair roads, and so on. The village development committees have recognized the income-generating committees and have authorized them to collect revenue from the use of local resources such as sand and stone. Never had something like this happen at Marchwar before.
Highlighting the changes, resource economist Deepak Gewali.
यो गत साल जाँदाखेरिको फरक आकाश पातालको फरक देखियो। अब हुन त पूर्वाधार त उही पुरानो जे
The difference we saw in our visit to Marchwar this year was astounding compared to our experience earlier. The infrastructure there was the same, but where earlier people would hide indoors when outsiders like us arrived, now women were debating hotly at village meetings. In fact, it seemed as if they were doing most of the talking, and they sometimes even talked the men down. This transformation may have been apparent to me more since the last time I went there was 5 years ago, but I can say with certainty that it is surely due to the RSDC campaign begun a year ago.
चेतना आउनु त्यति चाहिने उनीहरुमा आत्मविश्वास आउन सक्नु त्यो त्यस्तै कामले चाहिँ त्यो त प्रष्ट देखिन्थ्यो.
The difference self-reliance has made in Marchwar happened very fast and with minimal expense. So what is it about the program that it is able to effect such changes without much hype? Providing some answers, Dr. Devendra Raj Pandey, the brain behind Self-Reliance and chairman of the Rural Self-Reliance Development Center.
जुन कुरो सरकारसँग छैन हामीसँग के छ त भन्दा ती कार्यकर्ता छन् सरकारसँग कहिले हुनै सक्दैन.
What do we have that the government doesn't? Simple, our committed motivators. This is a group that the government can never have, nor can the private sector or any market force. We call them motivators, since they are the ones who encourage farmers towards self-reliance. But the motivators too need some motivation. That is why we have established some norms, and although it was not anything official, it later turned out to be like that. The norms are based on the fact that anyone doing any kind of work ultimately desires some inner satisfaction out of it. Our society believes that satisfaction is inherently linked to material goods. This is even more so for those who believe in liberalization. This view believes that people are selfish, and every person working to fulfill his selfish needs will ultimately lead to the all-round development of society. This is what we call market economics. Certainly, people have various material needs, but we also have to realize there are many other factors that contribute to satisfaction. Job satisfaction does not necessarily mean only earning a fat salary and keeping the family in comfort. It also means finding satisfaction in the knowledge that one's work is benefiting so many others, and in its effects being visible and appreciated. In this matter, we believe that the development worker must have aims similar to that of, say, an artist, leaving material achievements secondary.
कलाकारले पनि त्यही खोज्छ र विकासमा संलग्न कार्यकर्ताहरूले पनि त्यही खोज्नुपर्छ भन्ने हुनाले त्यो सन्तुष्टिको निम्ति चाहिँ हामीले ध्यान दिन्छौँ तर त्यो भौतिक कुरामा आधारित नभएर.
The biggest achievement of self-reliance has been the consistency of its activists.
समस्या चाहिँ नि हाम्रो आचार र विचारको बीचको खाडल हो क्या.
The problem is the wide gap between what we think and what we do. Our beliefs, inherent or acquired, remain on SI level, whether these are held as professionals or those involved in drawing plans and policies for the government. But actions tend to convey the opposite. It is in bringing their practices as close as possible to their principles that the motivators are exemplary. This is most essential for the country too, particularly in politics. We believe the example of the Swabalamban motivators should gradually be expanded in politics also.
That this program has been able to make such a difference in the lives of the villagers is apparent from a statement such as this.
We have gained so much knowledge within a year. We will be very successful if RSDC stays here for a longer time. But even if RSDC were to go away, we will continue with what has been started. Now people don't have to make the rounds of banks for months to get a loan. We can get loans in our village itself. This is the best thing that has happened.
Swabalamban is a program dedicated to eradication of poverty and to the transformation of society. It helps not only its targeted villages but also its activists.
Development does not consist of bringing transformation in other people's lives only. The transformation has to come from within also. It is nowadays commonly believed that the process of giving and taking that happens in the world of development is harmful. I think this is because people don't understand that when you help people better their lives, it is also a way of gaining something for oneself. We believe that physically tangibles are not the only earnings, but that inner self-transformation is equally important. That way our field workers also undergo transformation. Even matters like giving up smoking and drinking are great achievements. They are motivated to think more in terms of social good. That helps them become good people. Experience such as this are not easy to come by, and I think it is this which constantly encourages our workers.
There are many for whom involvement with Swabalamban has also led to their adoption of the program's goals as their own.
I have reserved that I will work only as long as the Marchwar program is on. I will not serve anywhere else. I am a village girl and I know what the situation of people in my village is. I will go back, and even if I don't get the help from any organization, I will continue the work I have learned here and try to foster the same kind of spirit at home. This is my aim in life.